A glowing wristwatch in the dark, one of the most beautiful things ever made. And for the young women who painted every single dial, it was a slow death sentence. To understand why, go back to 1900 and the discovery of something the world had never seen. Scientists called it radium, a brand new element that glowed on its own without any power source. To a world still lit by candles and gas lamps, this felt like magic. Radium was put in toothpaste, chocolate, and spa water. The glow was marketed as proof of health and vitality. Nobody had any idea what it really was. Then came the war. World War I troops needed watches that soldiers could read in total darkness, inside trenches, on night raids, in the field. Radium paint made self-luminous dials possible. Factories opened across the United States. Companies like the United States Radium Corporation set up dial painting studios staffed almost entirely by young women, some as young as 14. The work paid well, and it was considered glamorous. Their job was to paint tiny numbers onto watch and instrument dials with a fine-tip brush, and paint that contained real radium, hundreds of dials a day, the same motion thousands of times. Here is where it becomes horrifying. To keep their brushes sharp enough to paint fine lines, supervisors taught the women a technique. Lip, dip, paint. Press the bristles to your lips to point them. Dip in the radium paint. Paint the dial. Repeat. With every stroke, they swallowed a tiny amount of radium. They breathed in the dust. They went home glowing, literally, their hair and clothes shimmering in the dark. They thought it was harmless. Their employers knew it was not, because radium does something uniquely lethal once it enters the body. The chemistry of radium is almost identical to the chemistry of calcium, so the body treats it the same way. It stores it directly in the bones, and there it stays, firing radiation from the inside out, forever. By the early 1920s, the women started getting sick. Anemia, teeth falling out, bones breaking from the inside without any impact. And worst of all, radium jaw, a horrific necrosis where the jawbone simply dissolved, eaten away by radiation. The company denied everything. They hired doctors who told the sick women their symptoms were from tooth infections and syphilis, anything but radium. Workers were dying, and the company was paying to suppress it. Then 5 women fought back. Grace Fryer, Edna Hussman, Catherine Schaub, Quinta McDonald, and Albina Larice filed suit against the United States Radium Corporation in 1927. They could barely walk into the courthouse. Grace needed a back brace. Their case was called the case of the 5 women doomed to die. The company tried to delay until they were all dead. The case went viral, a word that didn't exist yet, but newspapers across the country covered every hearing. Public fury forced the company to settle in 1928. Each woman received a lump sum, an annual pension, and all medical expenses paid for life. The legal precedent they set was profound. For the first time, courts recognized that workers had the right to sue employers for occupational disease. Their case laid the foundation for every modern workplace safety law, the standards that protect millions of workers today. The glow on a vintage watch dial. 100 years ago, the young women who put it there paid for it with their lives. Their suffering changed the law, changed the workplace, and saved countless others. If you think their story deserves to be remembered, give this a like and subscribe to @Secret Life Things for the hidden history behind things you use every day.